I didn't come this far just to come this far. One of those kinds of things.
Philip needs to be a plumber today because someone clogged the toilet. Guess what? Philip is a plumber. He's on
Figure
YouTube.
It out.
He's called. You see, so it's the same thing like preparing for a jiu-jitsu competition. Is that I've done both. I've gone in there, trained, thought I was ready, but wasn't emotionally prepared, and then I've trained and gone in with that level of confidence that I don't care who I'm fighting. It doesn't matter who's the match because I've done everything in my power to prepare myself to go out there and do whatever I need to do.
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Sean. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Here we are, round 2 at Fitness Destination Houston. And thank you for having us. We have this new thing that we're kind of doing, maybe a monthly episode where we actually pack up, bring the gear here, have you on the show, and try to get some varied guests in here, have some good conversations, share stories. Right here, out this window, you see the Fitness Depot side of Fitness Destination, which we're going to talk about the whole thing. So, Lee, why don't you just kind of tell everybody what we're looking at here, out the window, and then we'll kind of get into the details.
Well, I think, to kind of back up a little bit, the whole idea of the collab came from our initial podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And what initiated it was talking to you. I realized, and I've always thought your story was unique and special, but I realized I had multiple customers and multiple, gym spaces with a very similar, unique story. And I felt an obligation to showcase them and their story for the right reasons. And I try to use a format to get down to what people do, and it comes down to what they do and why they do it. And that's why I wanted you to come out here and experience it. Mm-hmm. And not only experience it, you've experienced it, we've talked about it before, as a gym owner, business to business, which is a unique experience in itself. But this time I wanted to talk to Philip, not OTG owner, trainer. I wanted to talk to Philip. And we were able to talk today and give you a little bit of experience on the consumer side. And it's imperative that you take care of yourself just like you take care of your clients. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get to the bottom of it. And we were able to do that. Yeah,
and so before we hopped on here today, we went through a full experience. Lee I kind of told him what my issues were, right? We had a discussion. Me personally, once again, just to reiterate, as a customer here at Fitness Depot Houston, I've always been coming in as a gym owner, supplying my gym for our clients. I see stuff here all the time that I want to use myself, but maybe doesn't make sense in our current business model.
100.
Right. So coming in as a consumer, a B2C situation is very different. And then I also learned today what Fitness Destination is. I didn't even know. I've seen it, I've seen you guys say Fitness Destination. I've seen Fitness Depot. I was like, man, what is going on? I knew about the jiu-jitsu side of the equation, but you really kind of educated me earlier. We played around a little bit, which was super fun. I really appreciate that. So, but yeah, Fitness Depot is much more when you go into the Fitness Destination piece of the equation.
Exactly. And what we look at is like FDHTX, Fitness Destination Houston, Texas, encompasses Fitness Depot. Fitness Depot is a retail fitness equipment store specializing in home gyms, garage gyms, and commercial gyms that give you a full experience based off of qualifying questions and your needs. And you've experienced part of that, but today you got to experience it more on a consumer side, which I wanted you to do, and then also experience the jiu-jitsu side. So the other side of the coin is that we have 85 BJJ We're an affiliate of Team Took, which Travis Took is one of the OG black belts in jiu-jitsu, and we're an affiliate under him, and we're about 2.5 years old. The reason I say that is we're 2.5 years old, but our lineage is old and deep. So we bring a lot of that to the table through their experiences.
Yeah, and the combination of them both is the fitness destination, meaning that you can come here and get all pieces of your fitness taken care of.
The common denominator is that we are in crowd, noisy spaces. And the challenge is that, how do I sift through this noise to start my fitness journey or start my martial arts journey? So the common denominator is to provide a comfortable setting for you guys to start, continue, or to carry on your journey. And whether it's in martial arts, whether it's in fitness, a lot of the synergies tie along. I use an example, you're a fitness customer of mine. Well, today you got to experience jiu-jitsu. Well, how many times you came to the store and experienced jiu-jitsu?
This is my first time.
First time.
Yeah.
So by having this level of comfort that you and I have with each other because of knowing each other over the years, knowing, working together, I was able to introduce you to something that you've always kind of wanted to try but never had the real opportunity.
Yeah, and it's funny because as I told you earlier, I've been thinking about this maybe about the past year or two, maybe even 2 years. I really considered doing some type of, my girlfriend, Denver, has done some martial arts in the past. I'm not sure exactly what, to be honest with you. There's many
different forms of it.
But she really enjoyed it. It's how she started her weight loss journey, actually. She lost like 40 pounds, and her life has really turned around because of that. And it all started with some type of mixed martial arts that she really enjoyed. But now coming here, and I have a lot of things that I want to cover, and I have some questions and stuff, and we'll get into that. But even before we get into that, why don't we start with the Fitness Depot side and maybe explain to me the difference as me coming in as a business owner versus an individual. Well, and I just want to say one thing real quick that I thought of is when I call you as a business owner, I know exactly what I want. I know what I need. I tell you what I want. I receive a quote, I pay for it, your guys install it, and it's really, it's very transactional. And I'm not saying that in a negative way against business or anything, but it is what it is. I know what I need for my business operations for the most part, and I have a couple of questions, and then you kind of fill in the gaps. Sure. But as a consumer, the experience is very different. So maybe you can kind of talk about that.
Well, I think it's different schools of thought. I think your goals are different as a business owner. Your goal is what the client's needs are, which may not be specific to your needs. We're all in fitness, but fitness is a broad category. So, being able to identify your needs through a series of questions, we're able to kind of point you in the right direction for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. And that's the experience that we give. And it's a very similar parallels to what you do in the gym space. When someone comes in, well, why are you here? I want to lose weight. Okay. Well, how much weight do you want to lose? Well, how long do you want to commit to lose? So these qualifying questions guide you kind of in the right direction to put together a program. If someone comes in and they want to get as strong as possible, well, the weight loss program is probably not ideal for them, but it requires you to qualify their needs. And then once they're qualified, are they realistic?
Right.
And then take the next step. So the parallels are very, very similar in that sense.
And we were talking about that as you were kind of showing me around, asking questions. And I was like, man, I feel like I do this every day with people. They come in.
Same thing.
It's I don't really know how to explain it, but it's the same process in a different industry, maybe.
Different space.
It's the same process in a different space where we call it a prescriptive model.
Yep.
Where you're figuring out what the customer needs, right, and then making a recommendation based on that. Well,
and like we talked about, fitness being such a broad space, is that qualifying your needs is imperative because there's so many different options out there. If you're a power lifter, you see there's powerlifting, there's Olympic lifting, there's functional fitness, there's bodybuilding, there's different, and they're all under the fitness category umbrella, but they're very different and specific goals.
Do you find it challenging to offer to this variety of customers?
It can be. And when you have to have inventory, you have stuff like fitness equipment that's big and heavy and things like that, it does require a lot of overhead, things like that. But in order to give the true experience, it requires that. And, everybody else, it's like the questions I ask, Amazon's not asking you those questions. Mm-hmm. You're limited to what they show you and the reviews you read. And the review you read may not be indicative of you.
Your situation.
Prescriptional based off of you. So you read a review, this bench feels great. Well, the person that it felt great to was 5'2". Mm-hmm. You're not 5'2".
That's right. Yeah,
it feels great to a 5'2" person. It may not feel good to Phil.
And it's funny, us as fitness professionals, it's very easy for us to understand that. But maybe if someone's coming into fitness for the first time, they don't understand all these different modalities of fitness.
Exactly.
Is that something that maybe you've struggled with when you're talking to your customer base? Maybe they don't even know what they want to do.
It's incumbent on me to kind of experience the different types of categories under fitness. So I've done CrossFit, I've done powerlifting, I've done these different types of fitness, Olympic lifting. But me going through the journey will help me understand your journey. Mm-hmm. So it is a lot to not only manage the inventory and sift through it all, but to implement it all into me so I can give some true valuable feedback could be time consuming.
Yeah, and I can really compare this I talk to people more about nutrition a lot. Well, I shouldn't say more about nutrition than fitness, but they
go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. But what I'm getting at is you've tried all those things. Well, I come from a similar perspective from the different nutrition, all the different diets, right? I've tried low carb, I've tried fasting, I've tried keto, I've tried all these things, so I have my own experience. Because my job is not to tell someone exactly what to do. Maybe similar to yourself, it's to get an idea of what their needs are, give your opinion and experience, and then let the customer make their own decision. And in my space, it's so important that the client is confident in what's going on. So if I just tell someone what to do, yeah, it might work for a period of time, but they don't actually believe in it. If I can get them to make the decision for themselves, then they believe in it and they'll be able to do it for a long time.
And that's what we do here is that if you come in and you want to, have a garage gym, well, with the qualifying questions, I don't suggest, it'd be great to have a big sale. But buying a bunch of stuff, you haven't committed 10 minutes a week to working out. Now you're going to commit 8 hours a week to working out, or it's not realistic. So what I suggest is start small and evolve. And the garage gym, home gym, ever evolves depending on your training. If you were powerlifting and then you went to jiu-jitsu, so on and so forth. So
Well, what I was going to ask, think about that.
Because I was tracking somewhere.
Yeah. What I was going to ask is, how often are you having this conversation? Is it most of the time? Are you having this conversation a lot?
Multiple times.
So people come here and they don't know really what they want, or?
They know they want to start working out at home.
Okay.
And then that kind of starts. And then I get the other guys that are like, look, I want a half rack. I want 350 pounds of bumpers. I want dumbbells from this to this. And that's fine too. But that's why we have to have competitive pricing, everything to manage that side of the market. But the other side of the market is what we really cater to, is the ones that don't really know and they are confused. Well, they should be confused because there's so much out there. Who knows what? It's the same thing when you get the client. Well, I heard you can't eat that, or if you go just that, well, you don't get enough fiber. Well, once you get a hard rule like that, like we talked about, that's a closed mindset.
Yeah, and are most people coming in? They're asking you these questions, right? And they know they want to work out at home. Is it a garage gym setup where you're doing like a full gym, or is it maybe like one-off pieces? Maybe is there a little bit of both?
All the above.
Yeah.
And it depends on where they're at in their journey. Some people may already have a full lineup, or some people may started running marathons and then started having some issues and then needed to address them. So it's a broad category with a broad base of customers, but the process is the process. And identifying the needs and addressing those needs is still the same process. And that's why we have, Tony, who works here. He's a trainer. We have multiple gym owners that work with us here. And it's not about having hard salespeople. It's having people that ask the right questions for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. And the sale will execute itself if you do the right things.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And one thing you mentioned was competitive pricing. And I'll just be honest with you. When as a new gym owner, which is almost 6 years ago now, that I kind of started my entrepreneurship journey, moving into the fitness space. I used to work in manufacturing before, so I have a little bit of small business experience, but not like as the operator, right? But the competitive pricing is really what initially got me in the door, right? I'm shopping around. What's the most bang for my buck? So maybe what do you guys do to stay competitive? How do you stay competitive? You know, what's the secret behind that whole thing? Because you don't only offer products at a great price. You also offer a great service, which is what we just talked about. So finding those two things together in any industry is very difficult. So how do you guys do that?
That I think is the baseline. And the baseline is to have competitive pricing and good service. I think that it should be the minimal expectation for any business out there. Is it hard? Absolutely. There's a lot of challenges involved with the supply chains, the evolution of this, that, and everything else. But it's imperative on me to stay competitive and to provide good service as a baseline. And then all the other extra stuff, the qualifying and everything else is extra. But that is kind of the baseline. And to do it, it's a number of things. It's relationships in the business for a very long time, able to shop, being in tune with what is what as a gym owner, experiencing what you've experienced. I know what that bottom line looks like. There's two ways to make money: increase revenue or decrease overhead. Mm-hmm. Well, you can burn it at both ends depending on how, what, when, what your goals are. So that is a part of our process.
Yeah, I like what you said, where for you as an owner, I asked that question and you're like, well, that's just it. That's the minimum barrier of entry is to do those things. Yeah. It's the same thing like in personal training, where it'd be like, oh, you help people with diet also for free, because we include nutrition services for free. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's just part of it.
Hand in hand.
It's like, it's a no-brainer, at some point where it's like, I have to help this person with that thing.
If someone comes in and tries to segment it up and then say, it's almost like we talked about with, the insurance company and pharmaceuticals, the more confusing they make it, the harder it is for you to track and understand. Mm-hmm. Well, we're in a black and white space. Well, if you get them in the gray, then you can maximize your profit. We're not about that. We're maximizing longevity and health. In the reality is it's like functional fitness. If I focus on longevity and health, you'll maximize your profit because you'll have a customer for life. Well, it's the same thing. Functional fitness is that I'm training to be functional, but if I train to be functional and I take my shirt off, I probably look pretty good.
Right.
It's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct.
Byproduct. So it's very similar.
Yeah. Have you ever heard? Have you ever had anyone ask you what motivates you more, winning or not losing? Like which is stronger for you, the will to win or the will to not lose?
I mean, it's kind of a blurred line, I guess.
Yeah.
When you kind of look at it, but I think the will to not quit.
It's just to keep going.
Keep going, and it's cyclical like everything else. Life, business. It's never steady Eddie.
Yeah. The reason that I ask is because the way that you answered my initial question is very similar to how I answered that question. I've been asked that before, and I've never forgotten it. And I thought about it for a few minutes, and for me, I hate losing because winning should be the normal.
Good point.
I should win.
Good point.
I'm a winner.
Yes.
Winning should be the normal. So I just don't want to lose. Winning is it's just normal. I win, cool, go on about my day. But if I lose, I do not like to lose. And that sounds maybe a little negative or whatever, but it's just the way that I'm thinking about it is I should win every single. I wake up in the morning, I'm going to win today.
But let's talk about why you think you should win.
It's a great question.
I think because of the challenges and everything that you've seen through your life, that no matter what life's going to put in front of you, you are ready, willing, and able to put forth the effort to overcome it.
Yes. I didn't come this far just to come this far. One of those kinds of things.
Philip needs to be a plumber today because someone clogged the toilet. Guess what? Philip is a plumber. He's on
Figure
YouTube.
It out.
He's called. You see, so it's the same thing like preparing for a jiu-jitsu competition. Is that I've done both. I've gone in there, trained, thought I was ready, but wasn't physically, emotionally prepared. And then I've trained and gone in with that level of confidence that, I don't care who I'm fighting. It doesn't matter who's the match because I've done everything in my power to prepare myself to go out there and do whatever I need to do. And that transfers to everything. transfers to life, to business, to relationships, everything else. So I think that level of confidence and that mindset you have is indicative of your personality, of how you attack life.
Yeah, there's very few things that you could put in front of me that I don't think I could figure out.
And it's not a cocky confidence.
No, not at all.
It is 100%, and I see it in your eyes. It's a level of confidence that you know that you're prepared to take on what insert problem here entails.
Yeah, it's just like the jiu-jitsu competition. You know that and that time you learned your lesson, right? That first time that you weren't ready. But now you know because you've been through that before. It's just like in marathon training. I was meeting with I have a running coach that I've been working with to prepare for this marathon. And I was talking to him yesterday, and I was like, through my training, he really instilled this in me. He's like, when you train, you need to be preparing for the race. You need your nutrition. You need to practice your nutrition during your training. You need to practice if things go wrong. You need to practice if you overdo it. You need your hydration. And you need to know all of these things.
It was like when you ran in the rain. It was running. It was raining, and you had to run, and you had a choice. Well, guess what? It may run on Sunday.
It may rain, yeah.
And it's going to be cold.
Yes, it's going to be cold. It is going to be cold. So, yeah, the point is that you're going to it with confidence. There's nothing that can present itself that I haven't been through already.
Well, and even take it a step further. The marathon the event is not the make or break event. The event is the opportunity to showcase your hard work and commitment.
Yeah, and you told me that a while back, and when I was talking to him yesterday, I told him, I was like, hey, I was talking to a friend of mine a while back, and he instilled into me and reminded me that race day should be the time to enjoy, soak it all in, really feel those emotions. The work's done. It's too late to work.
If you are,
it's too late. The work was done during training.
Embrace the best part of the process.
The moment.
Yes.
Because you told me that about jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah.
The work is done in the training. The competition day, or for me, the marathon day, the race day, is the day that you show what you did during training.
You're going into this marathon with every box check. Nutrition, check. Training, check. Hydration, check. A game plan, check. So it's now it's time to put all that hard work and suffering. You'll have some suffering in the marathon, but you're callous to that.
Yeah, you're ready. You're ready for it.
You're looking forward to hitting the wall. Believe it or not, it's coming. But at the same time, you've prepared yourself mentally, physically, emotionally to deal with the wall when it does come.
That's right. Yeah, and then just if you're living on the emotion of the time, then you're riding that high and going through it. Pushing through, enjoying the moment for what it is, and that the feeling of personal accomplishment is that like nothing else.
It's an intangible and it's an unexplainable. And it's not like you have to, you running a marathon is a personal goal of yours. You're going to have to go to work on Monday. Maybe a little sore, but you're going to be at work.
That's right.
It's not like you're going to win the marathon and then Philip's done. So, you're doing this for those reasons and to challenge yourself, to experience yourself and everything else, but more importantly, to prepare yourself. So each time you prepare yourself for an event like this or prepare yourself for the next gym opening or anything like that, and you've done the work and you've checked the boxes, it's a different mindset and it's a different approach. And, it's the same thing here, is that we want to make sure we check all the boxes to keep you going and keep you on the journey for the right reasons. And it starts with that whole level of comfort and being able to have this interaction. Like, you could do online training, but what would the quality of your online training be?
Not the same.
It can't be.
Yeah, we tried.
Your reach would be a lot bigger.
Yeah, we tried online training, and this is just my opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of online trainers that are really great. Dude, the service is unmatched. You cannot provide the level of service that a fitness client
we can't even get
needs.
to the level of service. Let's get to the prescription. You can't even adequately prescribe something correctly without this one-on-one interaction. Yeah. And in today's world where everything's going virtual, technology, everything else, that we're going the opposite. And we don't ship anything. We have these conversations. Yeah, it's a lot longer time on the floor with you to have these conversations, but the quality of the conversations that we've gone into and what we've been able to identify and do was worth the time.
Yeah, I forget who I heard say this. It might have been Andy Frisella, but I'm not 100% sure. And this is me putting it in my own words as well. But they were talking about technology should help us enhance the level of in-person customer service, not take it away.
Right. Can't rely on it.
Huge difference.
It doesn't supplement the one-on-one. We are human beings, interaction. Look each other in the face, go try that piece of fitness equipment, put a gi on, Phil, see what it feels like to get choked with the lapels of a gi. That's an experience that you want.
Yes.
That you need to really identify what it is.
To understand if this really is the right thing for me. It's just like when you showed me we were talking about how, hey, what's a piece of equipment that I can have at home in my garage? You know, I'm used to strength training. Now I'm starting doing this running. What can I do to knock out my strength side of the equation? And you showed me that machine out there. So and it was, and what I mentioned to you when we were out there on the floor is that all-in-one trainers, I just have a negative connotation with them.
But for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yes. But me knowing the history of you and your direction you're going and having this relationship, I'm able to make, qualified suggestions for that. And we looked at, you're doing more endurance training with the marathon, so we know it's more taxing on the joints, ligaments, connective tissues, et cetera. So you still want to strength train. So we looked at something, a leverage gym, which allows you to do strength training on it, but it alleviates a lot. It's a plate-loaded unit, not like a free weight. Alleviates a lot of the taxing it puts on the joints and ligaments. So we can kind of, knowing what I know about you and your situation, because you did mention I want to stay functional. Well, I know you're functional at heart. You're never going to abandon that. Mm-hmm. But also I know you're a gym owner, and it's like me working out in the showroom. It's not. It's really hard because you're thinking too much business. So something like a gym owner, well, why would I want to put something at home when I have a full gym? Because you're in business mindset there. It was the same thing when you came in here. It was B2B. Mm-hmm. Well, now I got you in business to consumer mindset, which was a different mindset. So being able to work out at home and take care of it, and not have that business mindset, allows you to be more focused.
Yeah, and you can actually get your hands on the thing because we're here in person, talking about it, try it, feel it, use it, and anything. Yeah, obviously, you answered all of my questions and everything, and then also I can try it, use it, feel it, to instill my confidence in. And that's what, remember, Sean was mentioning, that if you feel good about something, then you'll actually use it, fulfill it, do what you need to do with your purchase because you feel good about the item.
Everything. And it's putting yourself in a situation to feel good about something.
That's right.
And if you got a junky spin bike that hardly works, then you're not going to feel good about riding it.
Yeah.
The workout in itself's challenging enough. Now you're going to work out on something that's not comfortable or fitting for you.
And it's just like I told you when we were out there, in my opinion, every single time you work out and every time you eat as well is an opportunity to do something good for yourself.
For sure.
So you should look forward to that thing. You should enjoy the moments. You should enjoy whatever you're using, what you're eating, and things like that. It's very important. I wanted to switch gears a little bit, talk about the jiu-jitsu side of things. So 855.
Or 85.
85. Okay, 85 I thought it was
BJJ.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 85 BJJ.
Okay.
And 85, there's significance to the number, a strong foundation. And it was also the year our professor was born in. As well. So Professor Jose Llanes is our professor, phenomenal. Been in jiu-jitsu space for a long time under Professor Travis, so brings a lot of value to it. But what predicated me aligning myself with him was the gift that I saw with him, not only through jiu-jitsu, but with kids. And, I always thought if I would have done this at this age, or, well, guess what, my kids are doing it at that age. So they get the opportunity that I didn't get. But bringing him on for the kids program was big, but also because just like fitness, martial arts is such a uncomfortable space. You got to experience a little of it today, and was it what you thought?
It was way more than I thought.
In what regards?
I've always thought of jiu-jitsu as like self-defense, and I thought of it more from a fitness perspective, but then just today, you kind of showed me some of the techniques and how relatable they are to life. And then you started telling me about how it takes years and years and years to actually learn all the different ones. Like, dude, I learned so much today in like 10 minutes. And so what else could there be? So now I'm like curious, like what else is that?
Pandora's box,
And
it is so deep. And I think what attracts most people is what attracted you, the physicality of it, the self-defense. But as we got into it, you started seeing the technical side of it, and the technical side is deep. And that's what I think keeps people around for a long time, because nobody's good at this. It's a learned skill. And you're physical, you're strong, but at the same time, with a little bit of technique and angles, it kind of supersedes your physicality.
Yeah, and the biggest takeaway that I had was when we were standing in there, and you first started telling me about it, and like what jiu-jitsu is, kind of its origins and things like that. And you were talking about how jiu-jitsu is self-defense. There's other forms that involve striking, things like that. And so in my head, I'm not gonna lie to you, for a second, I was like, well, wouldn't those be more valuable? But then you hit me with, because of who you are, and talking to me, because of who I am, how many situations am I actually going to be the aggressor? It's probably never I'm 32 years old, and I've never been the aggressor in a fight.
And I don't think you plan on being.
And I don't plan to ever be that. So if I was in a situation, it is likely going to be a self-defense situation, not a self-offense situation. Yes. And that, dude, I'm telling you, everything clicked to me when you said that.
And that's why we started, and we do with a lot of the intros, is kind of that break fall, create space, and break fall is a form of falling in a safer manner, so you don't hit your head, so you can react appropriately and defend yourself. And the reason I like to teach that first is that most people coming to a self-defense class are not going to be the aggressors. Right. They're going to be attacked. So if you're attacked, you need to know the defenses to be able to do what you have to do. And that was a process we did. So the first thing you got to do, if someone attacks you, they're going to knock you down. So you got to learn how to fall. After that, well, then you have to learn how to protect yourself. Then you have to learn to create space, and then you have to learn to be able to get away or do what you have to do. So that series kind of ties in to what most of the population probably needs.
Yeah, because I'm a believer that, the world is crazy, right? The crazy space right now with all the stuff going on politically and everything. But at the end of the day, it's my belief that most people are good. There's
I can agree with that.
Yeah, most people are good, but there is a small subset of people that aren't, and we need to be understanding of that if we actually want to stay safe in the world. There is a subset of the population that is not good.
Well,
right.
Take the analogy of you checking all the boxes for your marathon. Now take life as your marathon. And when I check that box on the martial arts side, it's not cockiness, but I carry a level of confidence that I can do things that I need to do if I need to do them. Mm-hmm. And that, it's like, the way you approach your marathon with your mindset of, this is my ability to showcase this and that because you put in the hard work. Well, it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. I put in the hard work to defend myself if I have to. And we do live in a space where you may have to. And having that ability gives me the confidence to go through life a lot differently.
Oh, yeah. You just walk with a different level of confidence. The same thing like when I hate to compare these two things, but it is true that when you look good, you feel good.
Yes.
When you feel good about the way that you look, it will show in your walk, in your talk, in everything.
It's an energy
That's right.
that it's either there or not.
Yeah.
And by being able, because everybody, I think every male at your age is considered some sort of martial art or some sort of combat sport.
Sure.
And just never really had the opportunity. It was infancy stages, so it wasn't as accessible as it is now. But now that it's this accessible, it's incumbent on us to take advantage of this opportunity and prepare ourselves for what could or may happen.
Sure. You mentioned that, similar to myself, you had thought about this for a while, but never pulled the trigger. Was there something specific in your life where you're like, hey, I need to go ahead and pull the trigger on this jiu-jitsu thing, or did it just kind of come on slowly? Did you meet Jose, or what happened?
What it actually was, I was fortunate because I was in the fitness space before, and I worked for a company, TKO. We sold boxing and MMA equipment. Well, I had worked with Travis before and sold him some bags in the past. And I had the relationship with him, so I kind of had that caveat to be able to enter, and that's kind of the caveat I wanted to create, case in point, you today. Is that to have some sort of relationship to be able to introduce people in a safe place for the right reasons. And knowing Travis, I always wanted to do it, and I was like you, always on the fence. Well, there wasn't like a hard and fast moment other than the fact I knew I needed to do something. And it wasn't like I had a road rage incident or anything like that, but it finally came to a head that I started at 38, and I knew if I didn't start this journey sooner, the likelihood it wouldn't start.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you create a comfortable environment for people that aren't necessarily aggressive people, but now they have to do this, combat type of situation? So what have you found to help people get started and feel comfortable in the environment of a situation like this?
Well, at first, make it accessible. And, making it accessible, being able to come out here is big. But then also, it's the same thing you apply in your gym space, the vibes. When they come in, are they comfortable? Are they greeted? What does it look like? Is the place clean? And we went over some general rules before you got on the mat, but it's imperative that you have an idea of what these rules are, because that could keep you from entering, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we try to not dumb it down, but keep it very basic. And, once you become a black belt, which is like a 10 to 15 year journey, you forget what it's like to be a white belt. And, me being a purple belt, I still kind of remember what it's like to be a white belt. And, we're in there to teach this awesome technique today. On the first day, you're trying not to fart on your partner. You know what I mean? Like, we're learning some awesome choke, and the only thing in your mind is, you squeeze your butt cheeks. But my point is, it's funny as it is, it's true.
I know.
But my point is that to keep, once you get that level of comfort, then the learning starts. So it's imperative that we keep that level of comfort and let you, like I said, the hardest thing for you to do is walk through the doors. Once you walk through the doors, I got a gi ready for you. I'm going to give you a baseline of what it is. I'm going to show you how to tie your belt. I'm going to show you, kind of the rules. We did a brief kind of over the history of what it is, the breakdown of combat sports of striking versus grappling. Mm-hmm. So to kind of educate and in that environment will allow us to keep the guard down.
Yeah, I was just talking to Denver about this the other day. A lot of times people, and we were talking about it more in a workplace situation, sometimes people in upper management can often feel, they can forget what it's like to be new,
yes.
And it's pretty much what you just said. Someone that's been doing it for a long time, sometimes there's now this gap between them and someone that's really, we'll use the word green,
yes.
to the equation. And so I really take that into account as well at the gym. Like we get people to just simply make them feel comfortable and allow the details to come when they're ready for it.
Yes.
So I would imagine something as complex as what jiu-jitsu seems to be, you should allow people to create their own questions. You give them an environment, let them build a confidence in the environment that they're in the culture, and then the questions and the education will kind of come naturally. I'm not sure if that's something you see or if that makes sense.
It is, and I like to look at it as everybody's jiu-jitsu's journey is different, and it doesn't make it right, wrong, but it's just different. And some people may aspire to be some high-level competitor. Some people just want to be in shape. Both are great reasons. Mm-hmm. So, but for you to kind of find your own reason is, like you said, you let them go through the process. And the more you're here, the more that process will speed up, and the more you'll start to find your way and start your journey. Mm-hmm. And everybody's journey is different. But it's really cool is that, you could have on the mats an ex-felon, a cop, a lawyer, a doctor. You have all these different walks of life that are so opposite, except they have one goal in common, is to get better at jiu-jitsu. And when you can pull these different types of personalities and everything and pull towards a common goal, there's not many areas in the world that you have these have these differences yet have a commonality.
Mm-hmm. And do you in y'all's practice here at 8-5, do y'all see that same variety of people that want to really excel in jiu-jitsu? Maybe some people are just here to
all walks of life.
Yeah, all walks, all ages. You mentioned the kids.
Kids is huge. But I think with kids is that it's like anything. It's like, these kids in baseball are getting so good. Well, yeah, because they're traveling on a select league for T-ball at 4 years old now, mm-hmm. where before, T-ball was keeping from eating their boogers and chasing butterflies.
Yeah.
Now it's like these guys are like turning doubles.
Right.
And so the standard is getting so much higher. And jiu-jitsu being a newer, it's been around, but it's being newer in the space, the sooner you can get them involved, the more they can evolve, and that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. Take that mic and like lift it up a little. Yeah, there we go. Well, not towards you, like away from you. Yeah, but then there you go. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. Just a little. Yeah. No worries. So yeah, I think that, providing the environment and then the people of different walks of life can now intertwine with each other as well.
Yes.
Is that something that you've seen of value to
Huge.
people? Because I see that all the time in fitness, so I was just kind of curious of your outlook.
What I was telling you earlier is that, imagine your best training partner in fitness and you get the best workouts, everything else. Well, in jiu-jitsu, you can't do jiu-jitsu by yourself. So you're a reflection of your academy and your training partners. So now we have a common goal. I want you to get better, because the better you get forces me to get better, versus me getting better is not at your expense. Mm-hmm. It's at your gain. So that when you build a synergy like that and that common denominator amongst a group, and it perpetuates, and it perpetuates amongst a group of so many different personalities and different ages and it's a really cool intangible that you can't explain, but I can only show you.
Yeah, and I like to say that in fitness, your life is on the line every day. So we're working out to improve our lives. But in jiu-jitsu, it's really literally on the line. Like I'm not talking 20 years in the future. I'm talking right now. So I thought it was really interesting. You showed me a couple of the holds where the one where you like grabbed the gi and you tightened up on it. And I was expecting a little bit of something, but it was like, oh my gosh, like when you in a heartbeat, yes, I felt that.
And you almost have to feel it. And you almost have to understand what that feels like. And to be able to have the trust in a training partner where literally if I didn't let go, you'd have some real problems.
Yeah.
But once again, I had the next felon and a cop training together, and they're choking each other out and tapping. So it's really cool that you have this level of trust with a training partner. You've experienced that in the fitness space, but you haven't experienced it in martial arts.
Right.
It's one thing if your partner doesn't let go on a choke versus, missing a spot on a dumbbell.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And beyond that, the other thing that it did is it kind of opened my eyes to, wow, like this could actually happen to me. Like I've never been in a situation, like I'm not a violent person. I've never been in a situation, like I've never had that feeling before, other than playing around with my friend, like when I was a kid and, stuff like that. But this is a completely different
It's a very
situation.
Natural feeling, that fight or flight kind of, it's very natural. But the more you train in that domain, the more prepared you are for it.
Yeah.
And the more, it's not as foreign to you. Like right now it's foreign. I'm like, get here on your knees. I'm gonna put you in close guard. What? Right here? What? This is a lot. Let me show you. But it's not foreign once you get comfortable in it. And the last thing you want to do is find yourself in that situation and not experience for the first time there.
Yes.
I experienced that 8 times last night. 10. Actually, probably more than that. My point is that I find myself in very uncomfortable positions on a daily basis. But I also now have the ability to think, not only think and defend myself, but also better my situation.
Wow, I think that's something that just kind of clicked in my head is that what this sport does is it teaches you to calm down during times of stress. There's nothing more stressful than your life on the line.
Nothing more.
And so your life is on the line and you have to think through the techniques. Think, what can I do right now to save my life? And if you freak out and have a panic attack during that time, you're done.
Done.
But this sport can teach you to calm down, collect your thoughts, and execute during a time of need.
In a safe manner.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
And that type of experience on a regular basis, being exposed to that will position you or prepare you for finding yourself in that situation. And it may not be indicative of a self-defense. It may be indicative of the house is on fire. Mm-hmm. And I have to stay calm in this situation. I do that through methods of breathing. There's a lot of things, but all this has to be practiced. And it's use it or lose it, just like fitness. And I've found myself in different situations, and I've been able to stay calm in it, whether it was self-defense or differently. My whole mindset has completely changed now in different situations because I feel my preparedness.
I think with any activity someone takes up, they should think about the benefits beyond just the activity itself. So like, for example, you just said that if my house is on fire because of jiu-jitsu, I've been able to learn how to stay calm and think through different situations during this very stressful event. You know,
well,
same thing.
I'll take it a step further because I do jiu-jitsu and I know I can stay calm in this situation, this stressful event. I have the physicality to do what I need to do. So I got to go get the kids, get the dog out. I have the ability to do it because of not only think, but mentally and physically and emotionally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Similar to running, you know, I'm out there. If you had asked me a year ago if I could bust out a 20-mile run, dude, I can't even do 10. Yeah. But now I've proven to myself that I can, you know, I haven't done 26 yet, but I've done 22 and felt fine.
But you will.
Yeah, and it hurt for a little bit, but I pushed through. I collected my thoughts. It hurt. My legs were hurting, but I made it. Right. And so now this gives me that confidence, just like when you look good, the confidence, exactly. When you know that you can defend yourself, the confidence. And that is equated everywhere across the board, not just in this one narrow path of jiu-jitsu or this one narrow path of running. It is it's
applicable. And and these lessons and these things that we do is applicable. Fitness is I'm suffering now so I don't suffer later. Mm-hmm. And, you know, jiu-jitsu, I'm suffering now, I'm learning, but this will allow me to possibly not have to suffer later.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Do you have any future plans for 85?
Yeah. So we're actually adding a striking class next.
Okay.
So, you know, with self-defense, there's many different martial arts out there, and I think they're all great. I just think, you know, with jiu-jitsu, I think it's you get the most bang for your buck as far as if I'm going to invest an hour, 2 hours a day, what's going to be the biggest return. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that out of the different arts I've tried, that was the best one. We are adding striking, which will be a form of Muay Thai next, which is good too. But it's there's a lot of physicality to it, but it's kind of that next phase of our academy.
What about Fitness Depot, Fitness Destination as a whole? Like, what's the future plans? How long have you guys been open here?
Store opened in 2015. Okay. The market's changing. It's shifting. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it is. But at the same time, we're nimble enough and able to shift. So what we've done is everything's gone real heavy in free weights. You're probably seeing the bodybuilding push, everything else. So what I've done now is I'm sourcing more of that type of stuff to stay competitive in pricing. I have a big offering, but also I'm constantly, you know, vetting all the stuff like the products we use today, the tib bar, the different types of slant boards, things like that. And there's constant product coming out there. So there's never a dull moment to test and get feedback out there.
Yeah, I know you guys have definitely expanded. I think when I first met you, did you have the building across the street here? Or?
Yeah, we still have that building. That's our pre-owned equipment as well.
Oh, okay. So, but have you had that the whole time since you guys opened?
Well, I bought that building, I think, 2 years later, so 2017.
Oh, okay. 17.
Yeah. So, but it's a big operation. We're in a warehouse. Mm-hmm. It does look different, but that allows us to keep our overhead down. Like you said, well, how do you keep pricing down everything else? Well, if I had a big fancy store, I had big fancy prices, and you probably would have never came and saw me.
How many total square feet you have here?
17,000 square feet.
17,000 square feet.
So about 2,000 square foot is the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and then the rest is going to be kind of the showroom and then some office.
Okay.
And it's being able to share the fixed cost and the overhead allows us not only to have a streamlined location, but to stay down on price and then stay competitive, which is the baseline we talked about.
Right. Yeah, and you guys offer a service to the city of Houston that it's very necessary. So I appreciate what you guys do. So just want to kind of say thanks, you know, for what you do. You've definitely connected me to some people, and at the end of the day, no matter what industry you're in, the people behind it are really what drive everything.
Yeah, and it comes down to, I think, intent and why. And I think, you know, what you do and what I do, our intent is sound. It may not be the easiest or most lucrative route out there, but at the same time, I don't think anything we set out to do, we set out to be easy.
No, I will agree with that. I was just talking to a client about this morning. I do have, maybe I haven't really discuss this with you, but I do have a handful of clients I do still train personally myself, and that I've had for a very long time. Most of the clients that I've trained, I've had for at least 3 years, you know, consistently. And I still hold on to that core group, you know, and as we continue to grow and open more, whether I'm able to continue to do that or not, I'm unsure. Right. But at the moment I do. And I was discussing with one of them this morning, about how, if I ever find myself complaining about something going on in my life it is, some things are hard for sure. But if I look back, just a few years ago, there is nothing really to complain about. Is it hard? Sure. But I like to stay grateful, practice gratitude, and look at the big picture. If I ever complain about my life, I need to stop right in the moment and really assess the whole situation. Yeah, it's hard, but fulfilling. Like what you're saying, maybe it's not the most lucrative thing. I did some real estate before I did fitness. And if all I cared about was the money, then I'd keep doing that.
And your bank account would be full and your heart would be empty.
Right.
And I've experienced that. And it's not where I wanted to be. And that's the evolution of why we got to where we were at, is because of we're here not to make money. We're here to live life. And to maximize our time here is what we do. Yeah. And that's why it's imperative, because I feel like everything else is working against us. And food, diet, pharmaceutical, whatever the case may be, is working against us, technology. So it's incumbent on guys like us that have seen the light, that have had our oh shit moments, to share our experiences and lead by example and challenge ourselves and show that if you prepare yourself, you can overcome anything. And it's a mindset, and it starts with that. And if you get the right mindset, just like if you train functional, you'll get a good byproduct. Well, if you train the right mindset, the byproduct is you'll have a good life. Yeah,
I do agree that if we focus on self-fulfillment as well as fulfilling others, then the byproduct is our life will be good and we will be gifted with the things that we need to have a good life, successful life, and live the life that we really want. And unfortunately, I think in today's age, sometimes that gets overlooked a little bit. Everyone's worried about where the next meal is going to come from, next paycheck's going to come from, and things like that. And those things are important. I'm not saying that they're not important, but if we can focus on ourselves, living the best life that we can, and using our gifts and our past, the things that we've been through, like you said, we've been hit in the head, we've hit rock bottom, we've been through those things. So it is my duty to share that with others and instill it into them that they can make it as well. And that is how I help them fulfill themselves.
Which selfishly fulfills you.
That's right. It is a little selfish at the end of the day.
It's like jiu-jitsu. I want you to get better so I can get better.
Yes.
Same mindset.
That's right. Well, Lee, I really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for inviting us by. Any final words that you want to put in that you think we missed, or anything you want to go over?
When am I going to see you on the mat again?
Hey, soon. Yes,
you did
soon.
Great, dude.
I'm in. Yeah, I appreciate it. That was, it was a lot of fun. I really, like that's when you said, there's so much. I'm like, man, dude, I just learned so much in 10 minutes. Well, it was, I don't know how long.
And how many times have you been here?
That wasn't the first time in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So all you gym owners out there, come get the experience of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, dude, it's great. And like I mentioned earlier, jiu-jitsu place just opened up right behind us. So swing by there.
And check it out. No, I'm not saying you have to come here or anything. Right. And if you want to come try it, just to try it and know that it, like, I knew that the proximity didn't make sense for you, but I knew that you were interested. Yes. So I'll take the time to show you the art. Whether you come here or come somewhere else, it's the same thing with the store, is that it's not what's in it for me. It's what's in it for you, which in turn will be in it for me.
I feel the same way about people. You know how often if someone doesn't fit our business model, for example, I will go find what they need and send them there.
Because you qualify.
Yes, because I care about them. And 100%. I don't care if they come. Dude, I don't care if you do yoga, spin, body pump class at 24-hour fitness, dude, you got to do something.
It's like any good gym owner, trainer, academy owner, is that all we want you to do is continue your journey. Right. And the only thing we don't want you to do is quit. And I don't mean quit our gym or quit our academy. I mean quit your journey.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta keep that journey going to fulfill all the different areas, all the stuff that we talked about today. Yeah, you guys have a great thing here. I'm excited to see the future. I'm glad I now understand fitness destination and what it is.
You want to come get the experience? Gym owner, homeowner, been on the fence about wanting to try jiu-jitsu. It would be our pleasure to show you guys in a safe, comfortable environment.
And you guys are right here in the middle of Houston.
Spring Branch. Yeah, kind of back of Spring Branch area. So come see us, and I'd love to get you guys looked after.
Yeah, and I'm excited for meeting up monthly here, probably getting some because you have a lot of contacts in our space with great stories, great information, great value to bring.
And can't wait to bring them through and then and let them, you know, most importantly, tell us their whys.
That's right. Yeah, very cool.
Let's go.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all next time.